Are you a better musician than the church organ granny playing at church on the gigantic pipe organ, turning the pages as she played along with the choir or whatever it was? Are you a better musician than her? Really? Let's try to answer that question. Now, this is a point of great debate, I know. What makes a great musician? So, is it your ability to sight read music? Is it your ability to play as fast as humanly possible around the kit, or as many notes as possible on the guitar or piano or whatever? Is it that you can hit the highest note in the world on trumpet? Is it that you have 1 million fans all over the world? Is it that you had hit records and won 5 Grammys? Is this the proof that you're a great musician? Well, as we all know, none of those things are proof that you're a great musician. Let's face facts. Everybody has to have their definition of what this entails. All right? I think that many people have the opinion that the greatness of art is subjective, as we can all understand by somebody taking a banana peel and putting it in an art gallery and throwing it on the floor and saying that's great art, right? This is a really tough question to answer. Are you a great musician? I think everybody has to have the definition for themselves, clearly laid out, so that you can have a plan. A goal without a plan is just some mystical thing out in the open there, out in the air, and something you're probably not going to reach, right? So in order to have a plan and a goal, you have to have a definition of what a great musician is, all right? Now, I'm not saying that you have to learn how to sight read. You have to learn every single rudiment there is. As we know, there are many, many rudimental champions that you put them on a drum set in a trio and they cannot function at all, let alone play different styles that require a great amount of specialization, whatever, Afro-Cuban, Brazilian, you know, the usual thing. Drumming is just too vast for anybody to be the master of it at any point in their life. Bruce Lee had a great saying, the only time you are a master is when you die. Then you are the master, okay? So I think that's an important realization to make, because it frees you from the obligation of putting so much pressure on yourself that you just freeze, okay? You just freeze, you don't know what to do, you don't know who to believe or who to trust or what road to take, okay? And you can just simply enjoy the journey, all right? Enjoying the journey is a great, great part of it. Something that Suno and all these AI people want to take away from you, by the way. Do you mind a quick demonstration? Awesome, man, awesome. That is awesome, brother. So back in the old days, when people thought the greatest musicians were on Broadway because they can read anything, they could read fly shit, as they used to say, on a page and play it perfectly every time, right? Now, that definition went away, and we have many other definitions now. To be honest, when I was a kid, you know, my parents would say, wow, to be on Broadway and to play with Broadway musicians, that's like, wow, the ultimate dream of being great, you know. Well, as we all know, there are many cats on Broadway that are very limited. So, let's define what a great musician is, and I'm going to give that to you from my own perspective, because that's the only thing I can do. I know people are going to debate me, and they're going to say, well, this and that and that. Is Ringo a great drummer? Is Charlie Watts a great drummer? Is whoever so-and-so a great musician? Because, you know, I don't want to get into it. I just have my personal definition and proof of what has gotten me great satisfaction in my career and has allowed me to play with some of the greatest musicians on this earth. So, for me, probably the biggest thing is to be able to reach a level that you can function in a wide variety of settings. Can you play in a trio? Can you play in a three-horn band? Can you play in a rock band? Can you play in a funk band? Can you play in a big band? Can you play in an Afro-Cuban setting? Can you play in a Brazilian setting? Now, why do I think those things are standards for great musicianship? Because, my friends, the more styles you play, the more likely you're able to survive off drumming. And that means you're making music. And that means you're being a musician and not something else. Okay? Granted, that takes a lot of study and a lot of effort and patience, a tremendous amount of research. Okay? But if you're going to be a plumber, whatever, you have to know the difference between different types of metal, and you have to be able to see and understand, you know, layouts of pipes and how things work. And if you're a brain surgeon, the same thing. There's nothing that's easy about this, okay? The easy part, I think, is just producing garbage music using a drum machine, or worse, AI now. That's the most pitiful thing that's going on in this world. And just putting out garbage into the world. Now that's easy. Okay, that's low-hanging fruit, and that's where they want everybody to be, because in order to advance yourself as a human being, there has to be a hill to climb, a mountain to overcome. There has to be a goal. There has to be something larger than your life that you must conquer, okay? It stretches you as a person. Music, what it does, it stretches you as a human being and puts the limits of your intelligence, the limits of your patience, the limits of yourself, of the most inner core of your being. It puts it into a test, okay, and makes you live life. When you're a person that has gone through all that, man, you're a pretty powerful person. And that's something to be admired. And that's also somebody who's not going to sit back and take any crap, right? Being a great musician, for me, is someone that can function in a great variety of musical styles, make a living from music, and living a decent life, okay? Living a beautiful life also. Now, artistically, there are phases that you go through. You go through this kind of phase, you go through your minimalist phase, you go through your big band phase, or whatever different phases artistically that you go through, and that's perfectly fine. But to be a great musician, okay, that's something else. To be able to function in music. And those are the tools that I concentrate on with my students. Those are the tools that were given to me by my teachers, and the values and the ethics that were instilled in me as a kid, okay? I never cared about being a rock star or whatever. Maybe for a brief moment there when I was 16 or 17 and started to notice girls. You know? But then after that, you know, jazz really came into the picture really hard, and the rest was history. I don't ever want to be like a famous guy or something like that. It has nothing to do with music. In order to be a great musician, you have to define for yourself what that is. It's not the ability to read music, because in India there are master musicians, okay? Masters, the greatest masters in the history of the world, percussionists, musicians. And in India, guess what? There's no Western music theory. There are no chords in classical Indian music, okay? In many parts of the world, including the whole African continent, they've produced some of the greatest drummers, greatest musicians in history as well. The only part that we obsess over with this thing that I have to learn how to read charts and stuff like that, I have to learn how to read and I have to know what every single thing about music theory is, that's a Western thing, okay? That's Western music theory. That has nothing to do with being a great musician. So let's get back to the granny, turning the pages, right? Is she a great musician? Folks, thank you for watching. Remember, if you want to study with me, the lesson site is waiting for you. Only $250 gets you into the full year program. We have the elite program happening for very, very special lovers of music and drums and people who are very serious about their drumming. We have the lifetime membership program for those who want to study with me for life. And remember that you get full support from me in all these programs. The elite program is a lot tougher and a lot more involved, obviously. And you have a lot of contact with me. And we have hand consultations where I take a look at your hands for an hour and we go over what you need to work on. And we have online evaluations where you send me a video and I tell you what you might need to work on to improve your drumming. Okay, folks? Thank you for watching this. I look forward to your comments and I look forward to hearing about your own definitions about what makes a great musician. All right, peace.